Hello everyone, this is Professor CC19, and it is November 2020, more specifically November 19th. And welcome to the first ever episode of my new show on my channel called The 19th. Every month on the 19th, I will release this show, having some fun, racing some marbles, and getting to talk about some of the current events as, of course, there's a lot of serious things going on that I think you should know about. The show is a way for me to share my opinion while still respecting yours, and maybe we can have some great discussion as well. Now, before we begin with the first segment, I will say I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs by the end of the year 2020, and I would really appreciate any help towards that goal. There's a lot of great content from my regular Candy Crush, the upcoming 2021 Winter Marble Alg Olympics, my first ever collab for the 15 Days of Christmas Countdown with Pittsburgh Pat beginning December 11th, and every month this show now. There is so much great content that you won't want to miss, so hit that like, subscribe, comment, feel free to leave your thoughts, as I will be hopefully feeling free to share mine over the next few months. And let's get started with our first segment. First off, we have today. We can look back in the past at all that's happened this year. We can look forward, the future, the holiday season, the happy events that are supposed to happen to finish off this year. But really, today is the only day we know we have and that we can live to the fullest. You have taken some time out of your day, whether you're watching this on the 19th or whatever day you're watching this, to watch this video. Thank you so much. I hope it inspires you, it invokes thought. But after you're done with this video, please go about your day and live your life to the fullest. Especially this year, it's important to maintain at least some control over our mental health. And by living our lives to the fullest, by maintaining a positive attitude in how we react to things, I think we can improve it quite a bit, and we can improve the mindset of people around us, because positivity encourages other people as well. So I just want to share that message first off. But today, and the reason that I put all these segments together, all my thoughts together into the 19th, this show, I found out earlier, today is November 19th, 2020, I already knew that, but I found out that it is Wear Purple for Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Day. I found that out from the Jeopardy Facebook page. As many of you know, in the United States and around the world, Jeopardy host Alex Trebek passed away from pancreatic cancer after over a year and a half battling it. Just a few weeks ago, he passed away, and my family was very saddened, as I know a number of people were around the country to hear that. So our thoughts, our prayers go out to him, his family, all the people who are grieving his loss, and all the people who are still fighting pancreatic cancer. The condition where he was diagnosed, it was very difficult to come back from. I remember watching the special for Alex Trebek after he passed that night on 2020, saying he shared his symptoms, and he really was a voice for people who are fighting this disease. When he shared his symptoms, it encouraged other people who might have been experiencing similar symptoms to get screened and maybe catch the disease earlier. So just to talk about his role in awareness for pancreatic cancer, even now after he's gone. And I am a huge Jeopardy fan. I watch the show every day, so I've seen Alex Trebek in my living room for the past, I don't know how long, how many years, but we're saddened to see him go, but thankfully we will continue to raise awareness for this disease. I know my family supports St. Jude's Children's Hospital with their treatment of children and cancer research. That is today. Wear Purple for Pancreatic Cancer Awareness, November 19th, 2020. And with that out of the way, I can continue into my next segment, which is thoughts about other things happening in the world right now and anything that pops into my head. So I hope you appreciate this first segment. And even if you're not watching this on November the 19th for Wear Purple, maybe just do whatever you can to support the pancreatic cancer research or the research regarding this to help the people who are fighting it right now. Let's continue on to the thoughts segment. Alrighty then, on to some thoughts about other things. As I've already said, it is the 19th of November. As I have not already said, it is Thursday, and it is 1 week before Thanksgiving, the 26th of November. The second to last official holiday of the year, I believe. We got Thanksgiving, we got Christmas, then we got New Year's Day, which is the first day of 2021, if we ever get there. Again, we can look forward to the future, but we only have today to live to the fullest. But as if you didn't already know, things are going to be very different for Thanksgiving, as they have been very different for everything this year. But here's something you might not know, because people might not have been telling you this, at least all the sources that I've been hearing. You actually have a greater deal of control over how different things can be. Not sure what I mean by that? I'll explain. First off, I want to clarify two things. Number one, I'm a political junkie. I read a lot about politics. I study politics. I follow politics. I don't like politics itself or politicians for that matter, but I think it's interesting to a certain degree. I think everybody should have their voice to be heard if they are speaking in a civil manner, which is what I intend to do here today. I hope this platform can be a way for me to share my opinion, to get my voice out there. Leave your comments below. Your voice I will share in the next installment of the 19th, any insightful comments that I get, even if I don't necessarily agree with them. Again, if you respect me, I will respect you and your point of view. Maybe we can learn from each other. And the second thing I want to say is I take COVID very seriously. If you are not taking it seriously, you are not a smart person, and you haven't been living in the correct reality for the past 9 months. I don't know what reality that you'd be living in where COVID is not a major issue, but it is. It's something to be taken seriously. Hundreds of thousands of people, over 200,000 people have died in America. It's something to be taken seriously. However, that doesn't mean that you should live in fear. You should not live in fear under any circumstances. Fear is a natural emotion, but you should not ever let it take over your life. Because when you do, your judgment is clouded. You act irrationally, you will make decisions based on emotion rather than common sense, and you will not respond well in a stressful situation, aka 2020 is a very stressful situation. So please, for your sake, and for the sake of everyone around you, you can take this seriously without living in fear. And that's what I'm encouraging. So let's get to Thanksgiving. With that out of the way, those are two things that are clear as day now. I don't think I'm going to have to repeat them for part two, but let's get to Thanksgiving. Earlier today, I mean a couple hours ago, CDC says there's new guidelines. Don't travel for Thanksgiving. Okay. I agree that that is a good call. You may not, but to be 100% honest, I caught common colds a lot more often when I traveled as a kid. I had a strong immune system, but I caught colds a lot when I traveled to other states. And if I can catch a common cold more often traveling than being at home, and now we have a very contagious virus out there that was spread from country to country earlier in the year, spreading it from state to state is definitely a higher risk, and that cannot be a good thing. So while I do not agree with most of what the CDC has to say, especially on Twitter, some of their tweets, if you could see them, some of their tweets have been insane. And that is part of the reason why I deleted Twitter. I will put that link in the description explaining why I deleted the Twitter app from my phone. While I don't agree with most of what they have to say, I think this is the right call. And I will be abiding by these guidelines, not traveling. Now, it's going to be difficult. I have family that does not live near me. Most of my family does not live near me. They live hundreds of miles away, and I'm not going to be able to see them in person this year. But I know it's going to be even more difficult for other people. Let's say grandparents who haven't seen their grandkids in weeks, months, maybe. Aunts and uncles, the elderly people who we are supposedly caring about more so because of COVID. And thoughts and prayers go out to those who are most vulnerable and who are fighting this disease. While we are looking out for them so much so they don't get COVID, I think it's also important that we take mental health seriously and consider the fact that loneliness doesn't bring any positive results. Loneliness, being alone for a long period of time, brings, I think, all negative results. I mean, there is good things about having time alone, but not long periods of time, especially the older you get. So I think the government has taken COVID so seriously that they've lost sight of mental health issues. I know we hear it talked about every so often, but I think it needs to be talked about more often. And I don't think the politicians really have any serious clue about how to best deal with both COVID and mental health. So it's going to be difficult for me not to travel. I think it's the right call, but I know it's going to be even more difficult for other people. Now, that being said, let's move on to some things that have been taken too far. This is not with the CDC. This is with some other government officials. Now, this is coming off the heels of me just saying I don't think government officials are very much in touch. Any of them. With maybe a few exceptions. Really, either party, I don't think is very in touch with the true needs of the people right now. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in such a bad situation, and we wouldn't be so divided as a nation. We are divided politically. That's. I think I can go out on a limb and say that that's a fact. We are divided politically. We may be united in other things, but we are divided politically. And certain government officials have not been helping that. Not been helping to resolve that at all. In fact, I've seen more work being done by certain government officials to cause more division. And let me explain exactly what I mean by that. Certain governors, I can think of 6 or 7. I'm not going to name any names except one. Actually, no, 2. I'm going to name 2. I think you know the 2 already. But certain governors are saying that you can't have more than 10 people in your home for Thanksgiving. Now, that's their new guideline. Now, I don't know where they're getting briefed, but I thought the whole thing about the past several months was connect with your family during COVID. You can't be with strangers, social distance, don't be in crowds, but you're at home, you're with your family. There are people you can trust, there are people you know. Now, all of a sudden, for Thanksgiving, you can't have more than 10 people in your home. All of a sudden, just now. Now, I don't know if this is specifically a power grab or just the timing of it seems very wrong, very concerning. I was going for concerning, but I think disconcerting is also a good word here. But yeah, number one, governors are governors of the political body. They're there to uphold the law, that is true, but they are not overlords or masters of anyone, especially when you're in your own house. It's your private business, what you do in your house. It's your private property. What you do with your, oh dear, something just happened, something just fell over. But it's your private property. It is your private business, and he is not the watchful grandfather, even though I have a governor who seems to want to be, who can tell you how many family members you can have in your house. Now, be smart about it. Use common sense. Don't have 50 people in your house. That's not wise. That's going to cause some problems. That's inviting trouble. That's not really looking out for other family members. But if you have a large family who all live in the same area and you want to have Thanksgiving dinner, go ahead and have it. And for those governors who, I will say, some of them are saying have 10 people in your house. There is a defense for that. COVID, that's a defense. I think there's 2 or 3 governors saying or calling upon you to report your neighbors if they have more than 10 people. Again, if you have 50 people in your house, if your neighbors have 50 people in their house, you should report that. That's a problem. If you have 50 people in your house, don't be surprised if the neighbors report you in that state. But just the fact that the governors are doing that, I think that's causing more division. That is just pushing people further apart in their own communities. Like if you don't agree, or if you have just this I don't want to call it a mental problem, but just this problem where you would turn on your neighbor so easily. Just encouraging people to do that is wrong. And I think there's a certain element of power, control that governors want to have. Certain ones, all within the same, political genre area. But two in particular, I think you can go all the way to the word hypocrisy, which is what I'm going to talk about next. Number one, Gavin Newsom, California. Now, I don't know the details about this, but anytime you are talking about people not having more than 10 people in their own family in their house at one time, and you also want to go about to fancy dinners, restaurants, events, I think that's pretty bad. I don't think there's any defense for that. That's straight out hypocrisy. And then the other one, Andrew Cuomo, make some meatballs. I like meatballs, honestly. I love Italian food, so I want to be nicer to him, but I can't. Giving yourself a pay raise in the middle of a pandemic, you idiot. You think anybody thinks that's fair? Now, let me retract the idiot part. I will say he's an idiot for trying to get away with it, but hey, he might get away with it. Not with people like me. I live actually pretty close to New York, so if I lived in New York, I would be pitching even more of a fit. Him getting a raise and businesses struggling, that's a fact too. Businesses closing down and him getting more money. Maybe that money could have been spread around to maybe help some of these other businesses, the people that are leaving New York because things are getting so bad, but no. So maybe 25,000 more meatballs. Okay, we're done with that. We're done with the governors, but I'm not done. Last video that I talked about politics, I talked about respect. I said I respected both candidates for president, the debate moderator for the third debate, well, technically the second, more so. I do not respect the mainstream media. The more I see, the less I respect them. Really, the last video was a segue for me to talk about Richard Blumenthal and his appalling lies about being a Vietnam veteran and how passionate I felt about that. Check out that video, another link in the description. But I have had some second thoughts, and I want to retract one statement that I respected both vice presidential picks. I do have a certain amount of respect, yes. But I don't respect the other person as a politician. I do not respect who could be the newest vice president, Mrs. Harris, Senator Harris from California, now potentially vice president. I don't respect her as a politician anymore. Now, I do respect her as a person. I respect her as a woman. I think she's a very intelligent woman. I don't think there's any denying that. But I don't respect her as a politician for the hypocrisy. She was an attorney general, she studied the law, and she flat out denied due process to Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh in the hearings. You can go back and look at the tape, even if you don't support him, and even if you do support her, you can look back in the tapes and see that she did deny him due process. That is a fact. Due process is innocent till proven guilty. By automatically not believing a person saying they're innocent, automatically, without hearing anything else, with no evidence whatsoever, that is denying due process. And for a lawyer, that is hypocrisy. Because the root word of lawyer, by the way, is law. Law. Following the law, which she did not do in the first set of hearings, which was... The first set of hearings, that seems like just yesterday, honestly. I can think back to watching that, and it doesn't seem like it's been more than 2 years. Anything else? Oh, yes, the election. Thoughts about this? Earlier today, again, November 19th, depending on when you're watching this. It was November the 19th. There was a press conference. It was more than an hour long. Sidney Powell, I believe. That name honestly just came into my head. I'm surprised I remembered that. Evidence. Now, this is the key part where I was talking about Senator Harris a minute ago. If there was evidence to support allegations against Justice Kavanaugh, then it wouldn't be hypocrisy. But there wasn't. There wasn't solid evidence. Now we have solid evidence. Press conference, I was listening to it on the radio. Evidence about hacking, interference, cheating, discrepancies, all this stuff. Evidence, I'm not throwing this out there. This is not like fact check, Facebook fact check. There's evidence. A whole hour long of evidence about those issues in the election. I was listening to this press conference on the radio. You know why? Because it was not on any of the mainstream news. Not in any one of the major news channels. All the news that's fit to print, that's the New York Times, the mastermind of all of what goes on in the media. You think they're having any say about that whatsoever? No. I mean, they're not like TV. Like they can't stream it, but think they're going to say anything about the legitimacy or even the illegitimacy, if it is, of this evidence? Probably not. They're probably going to completely ignore it, as I would say the media is trying to get you to do as well. We got facts, we got evidence, but no one's listening to it because we're not putting it out there. Well, here's the good news. No one's listening to you anymore, mainstream media. I think the trust for me, and I know for a lot of other people I know, people I've talked to, people I've seen, they don't trust mainstream media. Why would you anymore? Why would you? Okay, that's, I think, all my thoughts from today. Actually, no, there was one other thing. I know, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. Some of this is facts, some of this is my opinion. As far as I know, all the evidence presented was reasonable. I don't know for certain it's factual, but it made sense. It made sense. It was not based on emotion. It was based on solid evidence. And if they can prove it beyond the shadow of a doubt, then it will become factual. So what was the other thing I wanted to say? The last element of hypocrisy going on. And I don't mean to go on with this, but the election, last election, think back. How long ago was it? It either feels like forever or it feels like yesterday. It's no in between, I don't think, for everybody I've talked to. But on last election, you remember what happened after the election? Investigations. Money going pew, out the window with investigations. What did they conclude? 2 years later, I don't know how long later, last election was legit. But the fact that all that money went there, that's pretty annoying when you consider how much millions of dollars and tens of millions of dollars could have done to improve our country. Pretty annoying when you think about that. So for anyone in the Democratic Party or in the Republican Party to say that we shouldn't question this election after 2 years of questioning the last one because the other party candidate won, that's hypocrisy, pure and simple. You're saying that just because it is a different candidate, we shouldn't do what was done 2 years ago. Now, I'm not saying that it should go on for 2 years. This should never go on for 2 years. But with evidence, present evidence, you're saying we shouldn't question it after you did? No. That is hypocrisy. So, what is the opposite of hypocrisy? Opposite of hypocrisy is sincerity. These are my sincere thoughts, and I sincerely am concerned about you. With COVID, thoughts and prayers go out to those who are battling COVID, especially people who are at risk. My thoughts to those of you who are struggling with being lonely because of the struggles of this year. Don't live in fear. My thoughts are sincere. I don't know about those from politicians. Either way, leave your comments below. I want to hear what you have to say, and I will share some insightful comments next month for the 19th, episode 2, where we're going to be smack dab in the middle of the 15 days of Christmas, coming close to Christmas Day. Let's move on to segment number 3, the trivia segment. As I said earlier, I'm a fan of Jeopardy. Let's get right into that. All right, on to the trivia segment, the first ever trivia segment for the 19th. And what happens is, if you get this trivia question correct, leave your comment with the correct answer. You will get a shout out in the next episode, next month, December 19th. So a little extra incentive to get this question right. The category for this question is state capitals, U.S. state capitals. And the question is, out of the U.S. state capital cities, we're looking for the city with 2-word names. So the city has 2 words in its name. This is the farthest west. So that's the question. Out of the U.S. state capital cities with 2-word names, this is the farthest west. Answer that question correctly, you will get a shout out in the second episode of the 19th. And we have one more segment left today. It is the race, the marble race. And this is one of the mainstays on my channel, Algadoo Marble Racing. Everything here is made with Algadoo. Let's get to that final segment before we wrap up today. And now it's time for the first ever The Race. Let's follow the big purple arrow. That purple is significant, as I said earlier, because it is Wear Purple for Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Day, and thus it is the battle of the purples in this marble race. We have violet, lavender, transparent purple, purple, and eggplant competing on the course for rock climbing, very familiar from the 2019 Summer Marble Alg Olympics, and a modified version coming soon for the 2021 Winter Marble Alg Olympics. This is one take. This portion is one take. So take your pick and see which purple reigns supreme. In 3, 2, 1, go. Let's see who will get off to an early lead. It looks like transparent purple and lavender going off more so towards the right. Transparent purple hits the course first, but lavender rebounds in all the chaos and gets out to an early lead. Now it switches back to regular purple, now to violet. Violet leading over purple, eggplant getting in on the action, fighting with transparent purple and lavender way back behind now. Violet stretching out their lead over purple. Of course, the ultraviolets, purple and violet, 2 members of that team, not to be confused with the 2 marbles racing here today. And here comes lavender fighting with violet for second place as purple, classic purple, streaking up ahead, looking for an easy win over everyone else. Transparent purple getting in on the action as well as purple, I want to say reigning supreme, but here comes violet. It's going to be close coming down, but not close enough. Classic purple is your winner. Violet trying to get second over transparent purple, and it looks like they're going to do so. Can lavender come through for third, or will transparent purple claim that spot easily? Let's see, rebounding multiple times, still can't find the exit, and there we go, transparent purple for third place. Here comes eggplant beating out lavender at that last difficult jump. It looks like eggplant might be claiming fourth place instead of lavender. Still can't get it though, stuck in an endless loop of rebounds, and just there as lavender gets close, that is it. Eggplant gets fourth, and lavender the closest to pink out of all these colors. Still waiting on them. They have the right to finish this course. There we go, in fifth place. So it is purple over violet, transparent purple, eggplant, and lavender for the Battle of the Purples marble race. And that is going to be it for the first episode of the 19th. Let's get back to our logo. Just like that, video editing is pretty amazing, isn't it? And I will say farewell from the first ever episode of the 19th. Tomorrow is the 20th, and it's a new day to live to the fullest. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more. Check out Pittsburgh Pat's channel. We're going to be doing a collab for the 15 Days of Christmas Countdown. Leave your comments about my thoughts. Leave your thoughts and answers to that trivia question. Again, correct answers and insightful comments will be shouted out next month, next 19th, December the 19th. Again, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.